All right. So when we get to the screen and we want to create an estimate for our recently taken hover, we're going to go over to this bar and create an estimate. We're going to get started. And for this in particular project, there's a couple of different trades that we can include, but for today, we're just going to use the roof and the gutters. When you toggle those switches, it's going to kind of give you a drop-down menu of some of the materials or manufacturers that we use. The most common ones are going to be this OC Duration and IKO Dynasty. We're also going to toggle the gutters because we want that included in our estimate. Now we're going to move on to the amount of area and or how much of the roof we want to put into the estimate. For some cases, if the insurance company has purchased or written for only a partial replacement of the roof, and the homeowner is requesting, what the leftover portion will cost them, sometimes we'll create a partial roof estimate to kind of give them a figure of what that's going to be. But for today, we're just going to select the full roof to make things simple. We're going to move on. Now we're going to talk about some of the factors as far as like what percentages we want in waste. When we're talking about shingles and roofing, we're going to want to stick between 12 and 16%. These numbers are just kind of case by case, but typically you're going to be between 12 and 16. We're going to leave the gutters at this 10% mark and move on. Next is going to be how many layers of tear-off are going to be done during the process. Now, typically, with newer homes, they're only going to have one layer. However, there are going to be some cases where you're going to run into homes that have, shingles on top of shingles. And, you could have anywhere between 2, 3, even 4 layers sometimes. But today we're just going to do that one layer. Next, we're going to move on to the roof decking. Now, during your inspection, you should have taken a look at the type of decking to see if it's space decking, if it's OSB, whatever it may be. And also we're going to take a look at, is it in good shape and good condition? If it's not and it's rotting, or you have space decking or there's not a nailable surface, that type of decking is going to be replaced. In some cases, it's going to be a few sheets, and then you would select partial, and then however many pieces you need. Sometimes it's going to be the entire roof, and we're just going to select the entire roof. But for today, we're going to go with none. The decking looked good, so we're just going to move on. And move on to the ventilation. So when we're looking at the ventilation, you're going to want to remember that, or not remember, you want to reference your company cam photos that you have previously taken and the loss statement that the insurance company has written. And that's going to be able to give you the most accurate estimate because we go off of the figures that are on the home. So if the insurance company is replacing 6 turtle vents, and in your company cam photos, you have 6 turtle vents, then obviously select 6. For whatever reason, if they have a turbine vent, you would select a turbine vent. Kind of going down the line, you have Broan vents and, you see on the loss statement or in your company cam photos that there's 2 of those, you'll select 2. And let's say for whatever reason, this house didn't have any turtle vents and they wanted to go back, or at least they had existing ridge vent, you would just select that all ridges. If the ridge vent is on all ridges, if it's on partial, it's on partial, and then just break it down for exactly, the linear foot for, footage to make sure that you can accurately portray exactly what's on the home. But like I said, for simplicity, we're just going to go with all ridges and then roll into the roofing accessories. And what these things are, it's, if there's a chimney that needs flashing, if there's an area of the roof that needs a cricket, or they have pipe jacks or lead pipe, this is when, again, you reference the insurance scope and your company cam photos. And for today, we're going to go with no chimney, no cricket, but we do have 2 pipe jacks that are about 3 inches, so we're going to select that 1 to 3 pipe flashing. There's no area on the home that's going to require step flashing, so we're going to leave that blank. However, the house does have valley metal, so we need to select all valley metal because in the insurance loss statement, they have written for an entire replacement of valley metal. Now we move on to the size/story of the house. You're going to get some houses that are just 1 story, 2 story, 3 story, whatever it may be. If it's a little bit of both, you can do multiple stories and then just do the square footage of what's a 2-story versus a 1-story. For simplicity, we're just going to go with all 2 stories or more and move on. Next, it's going to pull up what we're doing for the gutters. So when we're looking at the gutters, we're going to take a look at the amount of total linear feet we need for downspouts. So you're either going to reference, again, company cam photos, insurance loss statement, or even hover measurements if you've pulled a complete hover 3D. And like I said, it'll break down those measurements and whatnot, and just to make sure that, we're not adding or subtracting anything when we are creating this estimate. So for today, we're just going to put in 60 linear feet, and for the miters, you're going to walk around the house, check your company cam photos, and determine how many miters. So we just put 8 there. When installing the gutters, we're going to want to make sure that we do all of it, because this is a full gutter replacement. If it were a partial one, then you would do partial and break it down. We're going to continue with a full, and then again for the gutter removal and full, partial or none. Again, like I said, simplicity, we're just going to do all of it and click next. And then it'll bring us to this screen where we want to generate that estimate that we have now completed. It's going to give us a few figures with exactly what we want. If you wanted to go with the OC, or if the homeowner wanted Dynasty, you would just select the one that they'd want. For today, we're going to go OC duration, and we're going to also do the gutters. We're going to do done, and then it's going to bring us to this screen. And this figure right here is going to be our overall roof and gutter total. When you're looking at that price, it obviously gives us a breakdown of our line item by line item that can, be easily deciphered for, a homeowner understand to exactly what's going into these prices. And if they want to, more detailed and or want to break it down even further, you can go over here and toggle this option. And it'll actually give you certain measurements and dimensions of where these prices are coming from and how your total is being calculated. So, they can kind of take the time to go through all that stuff and whatnot. And then the same thing for the gutters. So it gives us 136 linear feet of gutters, 60 linear feet of downspouts, the detach and reset of the gutters if we needed it. However, in this case, we're not going to need detach and reset. We're just going to do R&R. So this number really wouldn't come into effect. But it also does include the gutter miters. So we're going to need 8 of those, and that's where that price is coming from. Once that is done, we just leave it because if we do hit this button, which is mark as sold, you can't go back and edit any of the estimates. So once you hit that button, you are not allowed to go back and redo anything. So I tend to stay away from that. If the homeowner, you can't meet face-to-face because of COVID concerns, or the homeowners are busy and they just don't have any time and they would like, a digital copy, what we do is we go over here and hit Get Proposal. We're going to go over here and type in the first and last name of the homeowner, their desired email, and any note that you want them to remember and or to do. So I'll just put, please view at your earliest convenience. Or, you can do anything where, please view ASAP, or here's what it is, whatever you kind of want to put. And if the homeowner's, pretty picky and really wants to, dive into all the specifics, what I tend to do is I just toggle this switch, which is include all line items. And so that when we generate this report, it's going to give us a breakdown of all the materials and price points of where that total is coming from. Because some people can get pretty curious as far as like they don't realize what goes into all of this. So it's a really a neat thing that we offer. And obviously it gives us which company it's coming from, what the homeowner's name is, the price for the roof, the price for the gutters, and then the overall total. If some homeowners, if they want to date and sign it, they can. However, it's just mostly for their convenience and just so that they have a formal document from Moose.